Happy New Year, friends, and welcome to Julia in the Garden. I am not in my garden today. We're back to the winter filming inside. It is actually snowing right now. I'm in Vermont and it is, let's see here, I have my weather station. This is the first winter I've had it for. It is 22 degrees on the weather station, which is actually warmer than it has been the past week. The highs have been in the teens. So I am grateful for that, but still a little cold and snowy for me to be outside. So we will be inside discussing goals for the 2025 garden. Now for 2024, I made a list of priorities for my garden, just general broad priorities. And then I made goals for different areas of my garden. And I'm gonna do things a little differently this year, but those priorities are basically the same. And they probably will be for many years. So I'm gonna share those priorities with you first because they're kind of just my general, what I wanna do in my garden, the purpose of my garden, if you will. So 1 is to grow food. 2 is to grow cut flowers for bouquets. 3 is to encourage and provide for pollinators and birds and other wildlife. 4 is to have pretty ornamental beds to enjoy. It's kind of like good for your soul. And to be fair, a lot of ornamental plants also serve dual or triple purposes for food and or, wildlife and such, or cut flowers. And 5 is to enjoy the garden and specifically to have spaces to enjoy the garden in. So I'm not sure that those will always be like in that order. I think it kind of just depends on my mood during the year. And the priority in my mind kind of shifts throughout the season as well. But I do want to try to keep growing food towards the top of the list. But all of those things are important to me. Now, I'm sure that there are specific things I'm going to want to do in each area of my garden this year, and I'll probably make lists. However, that's not really how I want to structure my goals this year. I'm thinking broader in my goals. So I have a couple big overarching goals, and then there's also some smaller goals that fall underneath those. So my really big goal for this year is to work on the structure of the garden, the hardscaping, and just I want to make progress in having the beds more defined, the paths clearer, the structure of the garden, because it's something I've been working on for years now, and I'm in the middle of several projects having to do with that. So I just this past fall started what I'm calling my potager renovation, where I am renovating my kitchen garden or potager, and I have more information on that. I made a specific video, so I will link that here on what my plans are. And I don't think I'm going to get to my end vision this season. I'm going to have a couple top priorities with that, and then some we're gonna see if we get to them. Also, another big priority is the berry garden and woodland, really the border between the woodland garden and berry garden, because I reshaped the beds back there at the beginning of last year, and I just worked on digging them out mostly in the fall, like summer and fall, and I didn't finish. And so I really want to I really want to prioritize that. It would be great if I also got to the other beds in the berry garden, edging those out, and so I could do some thorough weeding. The orchard, there's a lot of areas that just I need to do lots of digging. I need to do lots of edging, things like that. So I'm calling that a priority this year. Yes. So there will be a lot more that goes under that. I am including building things kind of under that as well. Of course, I think that having the beds clearer, more defined, edging and such is the most important part of that. But I've been wanting to build 1 or 2 bridges across. We have these little trenches. I guess they're runoff streams, and they actually go towards our pond. And I've been meaning to make it into a more purposeful dry creek bed. I'm not getting to the stream part of it this year, but I'm hoping to get to some bridges so that in those times, I'm jumping over the water, and it would just be fun to have the bridges there. Also, some things like bird houses, and there's some structures I want to build for some obelisk type structures I want to build for the potager, as well as fixing up a table in the potager. So some building of things, some fixing of things like my compost bins, which an animal, which it was most likely either a bear or a groundhog, pulled off like the front parts of my compost bins to get into them. So I need to fix that and deal with the compost. I have some irrigation issues in the front I really want to get to. So those are all like top priority, just a lot of structural things. I had a little buddy who wanted to say hi. This is my youngest. You want to say hi? Hi. He's a gardener too, right? Are you wearing your mini gardener shirt? Yeah. It's a little dirty from lunch, but he's got his mini gardener shirt on. He is a little gardener with me, huh? We're talking about goals for the garden year. Are you going to help me build things? Okay, so my second overarching goal may seem kind of obvious, but it is to grow lots of food and flowers. Just do as much as I can reasonably. I just want to make sure I stay focused on that because that is the reason I started gardening, and I do love to grow food for our family. It's just like really satisfying. I'm not even close to growing all of the food for our family for a year. The only thing that I've been doing that with consistently is garlic. But it's still so fun, and I do grow a lot of potatoes. I got through onions one year. We got through most of a year. Not this past year, but I keep trying, and whatever we grow is great. Food, I'm gonna, again, like my staple crops, my garlic's already in, right? And then potatoes and onions, as I mentioned. I like to grow lots of tomatoes, but it takes a lot of tomatoes to make tomato sauce and stuff. So I haven't gotten to like making enough of that to get us through a year yet. What else? Oh, of course we've got herbs. I made a note to myself that one of my goals this year is to harvest herbs earlier because I need to harvest them earlier than I think before they flower. They tend to flower kind of late spring, early summer. And you can still harvest most of them after that, but in order to support the growing of food and flowers, I need to try to find more time for weeding and maintenance. So the weeding, it's just rough. So I want to see if this year I can just set aside some purposeful time each. I don't know if it's going to be every day, but multiple times a week, even just get out for half an hour to make some dent in it and maybe rotate. I don't know. So I'm thinking through that, but that is a goal I have to kind of set that up. My third goal is not as broad, and it is also connected to growing food and flowers, so kind of under that goal, but it is to grow a fall garden. I haven't been great about doing a fall garden. I've had some crops that are just like they've been in all season and they do well in the colder weather, and I leave them. Like things like kale is a great example of that. And my carrots generally last quite a while. However, yeah, I want to be more purposeful about it this year and do more. So, hey buddy, hey, you're distracting me. So it just takes thinking through, setting aside space for that, and starting seeds in late July or early August for things, or purchasing things. But it's usually harder to find things at nurseries in our area for the fall season, so it would mostly be starting from seed. I haven't decided exactly what it will be yet, but probably some cold hardy crops like the greens and such, as well as some hardy annuals, flowers. There was one year I got a couple flowers, hardy annuals in the ground in the fall that overwintered, but I'd like to try more. So it might be that I want to set aside, one bed for food crops and one bed for hardy annual flowers, because those are ones you plant in the fall that are hardy to your zone, and then they overwinter and they bloom in the spring. So it's basically getting earlier blooms the following year. So I do want to try that. So I need to think through that now, and when I'm planning out the garden, make sure I have space set aside for both those purposes, and also that I'm going to want to probably have access to, hoops and cover for the fall crops to see how far I can extend the season. And those are my garden goals for 2025. Come along the journey. We'll see how far we get, how much progress we can make, especially in the things like the bed edging and building of things. There's going to be some new and different things to share. I, of course, will also share with you. I'm going to be starting seeds. I'm going to be planting things out, and I'm sure I will stop by a few nurseries, so I'm sure there'll be some new pretty plants to go in the garden beds as well. If there's anything you in particular want to see, as I am thinking about what to share with you this year, please comment below. And I would love if you would share what your goals are for the 2025 garden. Until next time, friends, happy gardening.